Guys, thank you. Thank you for the interview, and thank you for bringing such great interpretation of these classic heroes from the comics to real life.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you, man.
It
Thank
seems
you
like
so
it's,
much.
you guys do it seamlessly. We talked a bit about the evolution of the characters and the advantage of doing it through a TV form, a TV series,
Yeah.
in opposed to a film. You guys want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure.
Yeah, it has been one of the most surprising, though maybe it shouldn't have been, but and exciting things about this process is to take characters that have been around for a long time, and the nature of comics is that they grow and they change and they constantly surprise an audience. You know, when you're relegated to a 2-hour film, there's some incredible stuff you can do, but the character growth isn't as significant. So over, you know, we're now in our 3rd year, I feel like Ed Nygma is a very different person, and I've grown with him. And that is, as an actor, you don't get to actually do that except in long-form television, and it's been really exciting.
We're discovering things about our characters that we never knew, and this is a continual discovery. And again, without knowing where the end is or what the end will be, it's just like, yeah, it's something that's constantly like, you know, unlocking in front of us, which is really exciting.
As reference points, do you guys look at the comics, or do you guys it's pretty much improv it and make you know?
Oh.
How does that process
Yeah,
work?
when we started, I like jumped into a giant pool of comics, and that was helpful because the greatest thing I distilled from that was, over the years, different artists have come in, different writers, and the flavor of that character has changed. The actual physical look, his demeanor, how dark he is. So I felt an allowance to kind of create my own version of Nygma. I now read them not as research, but as like enjoyment, or I get, you know, I'll like see a plot idea and I, you know, nudge the writers and I'm like, hey, this was really cool what this brought out in Ed. If there's a point where we can kind of like bring in that color, that'd be really neat.
It's exactly like Cory was saying. You know, when anyone tries to touch Batman, I mean, people, you know, really feel the ownership over this story and these characters. You know, when the show was announced, there was a lot of speculation and a lot of like, you know, and you know, I will say like, there was some negativity out there, and you know, which is understandable. But at the
On
same
the
time,
internet?
yeah, could you imagine? No, so but like Cory said, like, you know, being able to go through the comics and see that yes, like, you know, stories have changed. Anytime someone's like, well, that doesn't make any sense, you're like, I'm sorry, the story has been evolving for 75 years. You know, like no one can feel like it has to be one way or another way. You know, that was you know really, you know, it was freeing to discover that when we went, you know, and looked at the comics.
Without spoiling much for season 3, because then you know if we spoil it, they're gonna kill me. Could you tease it, like where you guys heading, or where your characters are heading, and where's the show heading? Because it's getting dark. And it's getting
yes.
very interesting.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, generally, there's going to be a lot of this, which is nice.
Which is really fun.
For me, for my character, for Ed, at the beginning of season 3, we've kind of jumped ahead about 6 months, and I'm still in Arkham for a little bit. So that's a bummer to the spirit. But once I am out, the very exciting thing that happens for Edward is that he's absolved of these crimes, and all of a sudden, as you know, a more fully formed man with ideas of what he wants, and he gets to kind of decide who he wants to be, which is a really exciting rebirth toward the beginning of season 3 for me. So we get to kind of follow Ed figuring that out. What does that mean? Does it mean being a criminal? Does it mean getting a real job again? Like, what does that look like?
Oswald's ambition in season 3 is, I would say, limitless, and he has more drive and energy, you know, especially because of everything that he went through in season 2, the loss of his parents, his abuse at the hands of Hugo Strange. All of those things have given him, you know, so much more drive to be not only the most powerful person he's ever been, but also one of the most powerful people in Gotham City. And that's really exciting to play. It's good to see, you know, he's making waves, I will say.
Oh man, I'm so excited. Gotham season 3, Fox. Gotham's finest. How did I get here?
Thank you,
Oh,
man.
man.
What a pleasure.